Okay, I'm going to let everyone in. Well, I want to give Nemo a chance to connect.
Okay.
Okay, I will admit them now though. And I am recording. Okay.
So is everyone in, Tracy?
Yes, so far.
Okay, perfect. So for those who are on the line already, we'll give folks maybe another minute or two to come in. Maybe folks are running late. Yep, got one right there. So maybe another minute or two before we get started. So I think we will go ahead and get started. Everyone in, Tracy? So, okay. Thank you everyone for coming. My name is Reggie Hubbard. I'm the project manager for the Sierra Vista Park renovation project. We're going to do this a little different since we have a pretty small group. Initially, we were going to take questions at the end, but as we go through the project, if you raise your hand, we'll get to you and you can ask questions. So as we get into it, just a little background. Melton Design Group is the consultant team leading the park design for us. Their lead staff is Patrick Farrar. He's their lead contact also for this project, and he will take over in a brief moment. As I stated before, my name is Reggie Hubbard. I am the project manager for this project and the lead contact for the city of Vacaville. The Sierra Vista improvement project is funded through Measure M funds. This was a sales tax measure that was approved by the city residents a few years back. Local park improvements was slated as one of the priorities for these funds. There's several parks in the city of Vacaville and each council district that will receive park improvements through Measure M funds. So once again, how this meeting will work, we will have our consultant walk us through the project. And initially we were going to take questions at the end, but since we don't have a huge group, we'll just take questions as we go. So like I said, if you raise your hand as we go, we'll have Tracy unmute you and you'll be able to ask your question. So at this point, I will hand it over to our consultant, Patrick, to walk us through the project.
All right, thank you, Reggie. And thank you to everybody who's joining tonight. Appreciate you guys taking time out to see what we have so far. We're working, of course, with the city of Vacaville to help them bring a new vision to this park. And you guys that are joining us tonight, all of you are part of this process. So again, thank you for taking the time out. Yes, so this is the first public meeting, and I'm just going to kind of try to introduce you to the park a little bit, even if you know the park. And I think I'm locked up. There we go. Yeah, so This is an aerial shot of the park. I like to start out a bigger view so people can understand context a little bit, and maybe some of you folks joining us, your home is pictured in this view. So the park is adjacent to the Sierra Vista School, of course, and it is surrounded by quite a few residences. The proximity to the school creates opportunities for us, and we'll get into that a little bit. And the park has, it's been a while since it's had some upgrades to it, I would say. So as we look at the park, for the most part, it's turf. And there are some backstops, as it were. There's 3 of them located here on the site. And there's also an old ring where some play equipment was and has been removed. The school over the past few years has added some outdoor court areas and has put up a fence along their property. And that, again, helps us to frame the park as we do some design work. So starting along Bel Air Street, just to understand some of the conditions. I know we drive by the park all the time, we see things, but sometimes it helps to just look in a little more detail. Some of the things that catch our eye as we start the process are the perimeter conditions. And so in the upper left, you can see the school recently has put in some new parking lot and has done some upgrades. So we have, a safer crossing with this sidewalk. There's truncated domes so people know when they're entering a drive aisle, protect them against cars. This is actually the parking area, parking lot as you come in off of Bel Air. We're looking here, Bel Air is in the background. And then on over here on Bel Air, you can kind of see the condition of the street. The sidewalk is in good shape. These ramps are more for vehicle access with the bollards prevent cars from driving on, but allow maintenance. The asphalt paths, they've suffered through the years, and some of them are in poorer condition than others. You'll see that as we go through the slides. Here's one of the backstops. There's typical of 3 of these in the turf area. This view looking toward the east toward the other street. You can see the condition of the turf is in really good shape. And we're hoping through our design process to save as much of that as possible. If we look along the border of the adjacent neighborhood, there are some trees here that are really good shape. There are some plantings that we may want to augment, but regardless, we're saving all the existing vegetation and hoping to create a little more buffer just to give a nicer edge along there. And this is a typical condition of the asphalt sidewalk. Is starting to degrade a bit, and in some places it's probably not an accessible path anymore. Again, going a little further into the park, same view looking toward the east, we can see the condition of the asphalt. The edges are being encroached upon by turf, but we do have this nice buffer still between the park and the adjacent neighborhood. Trees, redwoods, and a mix of other trees, still really good shape, and want to make sure we preserve those during the construction and we don't remove them through the design process. The upper right, you can kind of see the condition of the park as it has an opportunity to for pedestrians to go over to Clayton Circle. This path is pedestrian path, and it can be used to gain access to the park and to the school beyond from the neighborhood. So this link will be staying. We hope to again to augment the existing buffer in places like this, and with additional plantings just to get it back to what it was years ago. In the lower left, we see the circle that was designed to house the play equipment that has been removed. And you can also see the condition of the turf. For instance, in this area, we have a very low drain, and it kind of prevents safe play in that area. So we're going to be looking at little upgrades like that too, such that we have a safe area. If this remains turf in this area, we can raise this grade so it's not such a depression, and it's not as dangerous if kids are playing in that area. Again, this is now in the lower right. We see the condition right at Greenwich is the entry, one of the pedestrian entries, bollards to prevent vehicles from coming in. And you can see it's the condition there. It looks like it might have, been different in the past. The old planting plans show more trees, and I think over time, as the trees have died out, they haven't been replaced. So we're looking for opportunities there where we see conditions like this. This slide, we're pretty much looking back again toward where we started in our views. This is along the edge of the school fence. So in this left photo, we're pretty much standing at the sidewalk, looking back toward the school and back toward Bel Air. You can see the brand new vinyl clad chain link fence. It's in really good shape. We still have lighting in the park, and that lighting will be preserved, relocated, or enhanced. We do want some low level lighting. The lighting design is not done, but we will at least maintain the lighting conditions we currently have. And we will receive ambient light off the buildings as well. So there might be some net gain there. You can see the parking over here in the upper right. There's double masted lamps, and then there's a single lamp over here where cars turn in off of Bel Air. Additionally, along the school fence, where we see opportunities, and we'll talk about that when we go through the design process. This gentleman here standing here is kind of inspecting, and you can see there might be water collecting in this area, and we are looking for opportunities to enhance that and make it part of the park. So as we stop and look at the initial concept plan, know that this is one of the first steps in the process for us. We've looked at the past outreach. We've consulted with the city of Vacaville. And actually, when we've been to the site several times, we've encountered people and then had chatted with them about their use of the park. And that site analysis and understanding of the site continues as we jump in to the design work. So when you look at this, know that this is not the final design, and there will be some massaging of shapes and features, et cetera. And we would like to understand, where that may happen through part of the outreach. And this is the first outreach session. So I'm just going to walk you through this briefly. So as we orient ourselves, north is to the top of the page. Again, we have Bel Air on one side of the park. We're bounded there, and Greenwich on this side. Sierra Vista Park to the south, and the approximate property line in bold black. It's not precise in this drawing, but it's fairly close. So we see connections to the park in a few different ways, and those you can be hinted at with the striping in the street for pedestrian crossing. And also we have a school adjacent. There's a turnaround through there, so we get a lot of traffic there. And then on Greenwich, there's also access that way. And again, off of Clayton Circle, you can see this pathway connects back, and it's an opportunity for people to use that in a safe way and to get to the park on a less busy street, and Bel Air being a little busier. I'm going to zoom in a little bit, so I'm probably going to break the frame. Hang on for a moment. And we can stop at any time and chat, but let's get through this just so we understand what we're looking at. So we're looking to maintain as much as the turf we can, but also reduce some turf where maybe it doesn't benefit us, and we can also reduce our water use, the amount of maintenance that's required, chemicals, all that, and just confine it in the best place that makes the most sense and creates the best opportunity. So what we laid out here is we have the two backstops, and it's a multi-use field. Assume that this field can be used for anything from picnicking to rolling around with your kid, frisbee, flying kites. You can do pickup games of whatever you'd like to do. We did kind of lay out some ball fields just to show how you could have two softball fields. And again, these could just be you throwing your shirt on the ground and calling that home plate. And then three smaller ball fields, or soccer fields, kind of oriented north-south direction. And it's not that it's striped and programmed for that, but we like to show the possibility of what's there. And there is still some backstops that may or may not be reinstalled. At the parks it fronts Bel Air. We're trying to create a little bit of a buffer from the street for a couple reasons. One is to prevent kids chasing balls from just running out in the street, and also just to create a little identity for this park. The park is pretty flat, doesn't have much topographic relief. There's really no signage for it. And so we're trying to start with maybe some basic tree planting and a park sign to identify where you are. It's different from the school, which is adjacent, and then maybe start to create some shade and some character with the plantings. So the plantings, again, are not locked in. It's just a idea of help you understand how this may go. As we go around, there's an important feature here. This is the TGIF building. Reggie can talk about that if you need more info on that, but it's kind of an afternoon center for kids. And we spent some time with them looking for the best place to locate it. We're hoping to maybe use a drop off, this parking lot, use a drop off so that people can stop with, not on the street, but in a safe parking area to pick up kids and drop them off. And so you see the this building here, kind of a modular building sited there. And then just stopping here for a moment, all these gray pathways should be considered as some sort of surface. It may or may not be concrete, but it's the walking opportunities that's much more than we have currently. And we went with more of an organic shape. One, it kind of fits the site, and two, it creates more length with the curves. And we're hoping there's a chance we can get a little bit of topographic relief so you have gentle up and down. And we find that this kind of arrangement allows for kids to learn how to ride their bikes, skateboard, or just walk. If you have a circuit you like to do, that sort of thing, you can track your miles and do loops. And then as we go up into the central core area, we're looking at a covered area, provided the park can afford it, provide shade for this area right here. Assume there could be tables or benches there. And then the tot lot area here. And that's for the young ones that need a little protection from more ambitious and older kids. So we would have seating areas such they would contain them and allow them to have some area to be contained without being run over by larger kids, and then also to have that adult supervision. And then so separated through, again, with a walking path that's a little wider, is the next area here, which would be more the older kids, the 5 to 12. So you have a little more challenging play. Again, the play is not defined yet as far as the play equipment, but assume there'd be a series of pieces of play equipment. We typically like to link them with experiences such that they're not just an isolated piece of equipment. So what you see here is not the final alignment or arrangement or equipment. And these shapes may change, and the spaces allotted to them may change as well. And then adjacent to that, again, where the older kids are, we're talking about maybe an adventure play. And what that is maybe some less scripted play equipment where kids can challenge themselves in a more physical way, whether they're climbing rocks or boulders or logs, or they have challenging play where there might be ropes that they climb to test their body and their skill level, and also learn how to control their bodies so they don't fall. So there's a little more risky play there, if you could describe it that way. And then beyond that, toward Greenwich, another smaller multi-use turf area, again, unscripted. And then as we go toward Greenwich, a picnic area, and we're trying to throw more trees here such that we can generate shade. I think if the budget allows, we would try to have permanent structures. But for now, we're just trying to show that we would have more shade in this area, so more formal planning. And then in this area, to just create a little variety, we're proposing maybe a mounded turf area so that kids can roll around and make their own games. And it's also kind of a different way to enter the park. Instead of going right to play equipment and you have kids that can run out in the street, it's more of a passive area, and then the more active area in the main core. And again, maybe some park signage on this side. We haven't decided what that may be, what the extent of it may be, and maybe it's only on Bel Air, but the identity of the park we're trying to see how we can create a little more identity and maybe theme the park in such a way that gives it that identity. I'm almost done here. On the north side, these darker green areas, the existing planting would stay. We're showing the existing trees as best we could identify them in kind of this pale color. So all those trees would be saved, the shrubs would be saved, and assume that this green area would be the buffer. Now, what that is planted with is not known yet, but assume that that would be some distance from the main play equipment, and there might be trees and low maintenance shrubs in those areas, not mowed turf. And that would continue all the way over to these residences as well. And again, some enhancement. We showed a slide earlier of the condition here. There was the fences that need a little bit of love, I guess you could say. The only other two trees that have been identified from the original planting are here, a nice old canary pine and another nice old canary pine here, which we believe we can save. And that's our goal, to save all those, just to give some existing character to the park before we start adding more or designing it further. And I guess one last thing is, in these areas, there is stormwater that we can capture and percolate, and we can create opportunities for education. I know that in this area, the school has some stormwater treatment catchment areas, and maybe there's a cooperative way to learn how that may occur in a bigger setting. They have water coming off there.